You guys look like... What do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
Get those nerds! Nerds! Nerds!
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
What? Are you kidding? We got some family here. Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
You are listening to the In the Mouth of Dorkness podcast, the official podcast of the Alamo Drafthouse, Winchester.
Welcome to another edition of the Itmodcast podcast. Joining me is Brian.
No, Brian's not here, man. Brian's gone.
Okay,
Keep
sorry.
that in. Keep that in.
All right, take two. Dang it. All right. Welcome to another edition of the Itmodcast podcast. Joining me is Brad Gullickson, Mouth Dork.
Yippee-ki, yes!
And I'm your host, Darren Smith, the Disco Dork. I had a ham sandwich for lunch, but my fingers smell like fish. And welcome to another edition of the Itmodcast podcast.
Yeah!
Dude, when did they say that in that movie?
In Fantasy Island?
Yeah.
When the two stepbrothers, they go through the panic room, and then they find that room of all the machine guns.
Yeah.
And the guy from Veronica Mars is like, yippee-ki, yes! That's
Dude.
my new crack an egg on it, caca.
Okay, I dig it. I like the Die Hard reference, but we'll talk about that movie when we get to our review cast. Hi, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Welcome to another episode of the D&B Show.
Oh, the D&B Show.
Brian is not here today. Obviously, He's working, and Wife Dork is not here today. She is having a much needed and much well deserved and earned day for herself.
Lisa had a migraine all week long.
Yeah.
And on top of singing multiple weddings and funerals and doing her regular gig, she just like gave all of herself at the office. Yeah. And just needed to take like a little day. And I know that also means we did not deliver our Fistful of Sundance. And I know that Sundance was like a month ago, but we're still going to do it.
Yeah.
We're still going to bring that episode. We're going to drop that into your feed at some point. Lisa and I just need to get together to record that ep.
Okay. Well, the big takeaway, the important takeaway is it may seem like a small thing, but that is a huge deal. And I mentioned that to her prior to recording. Self-care, taking care of yourself. You know, especially if you have a significant other in your life, you can't be there. It's like in the airplane. Please put on your mask before you attempt to sit. You got to take care of yourself if you wish to be of service to someone else. So
I'm the baby in that situation.
You are the baby.
She's got to put that little mask on me or I'm going to die. But and to do that, she's got to put the mask on herself
first. Yeah, so Lisa's putting her O2 mask on right now. How was your week in Dork?
I had a good week in Dork.
Yeah?
While Lisa was withering in pain, I was watching a bunch of movies.
Oh, nice.
Reading a bunch of comic books. Living my best life now.
In her face.
In her face. No, we did have an awesome Valentine's Day.
Yeah?
And not on Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay.
On the 14th, we couldn't make it work. But on the 15th, which was yesterday, on Saturday, she had some gigs that she had to do. So I drove her around. I took her out to some jobs. And then while she was in there teaching lessons, I was editing our VFW Itmod Chatcast episode.
In the car?
In the car, connecting to my phone. Technology is wonderful. Thank you, Apple. Thank you, Steve Jobs, and all your minions.
Yeah.
And I had so much fun doing that edit. I would encourage all our listeners to go and check out that episode and to watch VFW because I had a total blast with that movie at Fantastic Fest. I'm going to rewatch it again. It's playing at the Alamo Drafthouse in Winchester, Virginia on the 20th as part of Psycho Cinema, so I'm going to be there for that. But that was the first interview that Lisa and I did when we were at Fantastic Fest. And it's with William Sadler and Martin Kove, the first part of it. Die Hard 2 and Karate Kid, Cobra Kai. On top of, one of my all-time favorite movies, Demon Knight.
Rolling Thunder?
Rolling Thunder, yeah. No. Steel Justice.
Steel Justice.
which is another really great film. And so you're going like, okay, be cool. You're talking to these really cool guys. They're being cool to you. You be cool. And you can't really enjoy that conversation in the moment because you're so aware of yourself.
Yeah.
And what's awesome is that was many months ago, and now the movie's out on VOD and in select theaters, and so we can finally unleash that audio. And I took the time to listen to it, and I go, that's actually a really fun conversation with those guys.
Yeah.
They are such a blast, and they're very high energy, and they're teasing, and it's a really fun conversation.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the interview is with director Joe Bagos and producer actor Stephen Lang, and Stephen Lang is so serious in that interview.
Is he?
And you can the tone definitely changes halfway through the Itmod Chatcast, but it's also kind of wonderful.
Yeah.
And again, you're like, this is the hard way. I'm talking to the hard way.
Yeah.
An Avatar.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. While Lisa was working on that, I was doing this. She got out of the lessons, and then we drove to Annapolis, Maryland, and went to Third Eye Comics, and we bought a bunch of comic books. I bought a couple new T-shirts. I'm wearing my Todd McFarlane Spider-Man 1 shirt.
That's dope.
I bought that. And then we went and had coffee right by the Naval Academy. In fact, the place that we drank coffee was right next to the street where Harrison Ford is shot in Patriot Games.
Oh, shit.
For those that remember Patriot Games, when he's like leaving the Naval Academy and those guys come up and they cap him.
Yeah.
We had coffee near that.
At the scene of the crime.
The scene of the crime. And it was called Brown Mustache Coffee in Annapolis. Enjoyed it. Very cute. It's a bookstore. You go down this terrifying metal windy staircase down to the basement.
Yeah.
You can play chess. There's a giant crystal ball there.
Oh.
You can hold seances, and they do tarot readings. It was a wild place, but we had a good time.
Yeah.
And then we came back, and we went and had dinner at Sushi Yoshi in Vienna, Virginia. Actually, we were early for our reservation, so we then went to another bookstore, Bard's Alley, on Church Street in Vienna. Really cute, cool bookstore. They had a book I hadn't seen before called Masters of Comics from Insight Comics Publisher. And it's a book that takes you through some of your favorite comic artists' studios. So you get to see their workspace. And then the interviews about how they work, what hours do they set for themselves, how do they do covers versus interior art. And it's guys like Sean Phillips and Walter Simonson and Frank Quietly. And so I bought that. I sent some photos up on Twitter. Had some good time taking photos of that book and its journey with me. And then we went to Sushi Yoshi, and I ate a ton of sushi. And then we went and saw Fantasy Island and had a blast at Fantasy Island.
Oh.
But more on that later.
Okay.
Because that's our review cast.
Yeah.
So that was our Valentine's Day. Like, it was like, you know, Lisa asked me during dinner, like, well, what's your, like, perfect day? I'm like, this is my perfect day.
Yeah.
You know, getting to do something a little creative with our podcast, make a little money, or watch my wife make a little money.
Yeah.
Go spend that money on comics and books.
Yeah.
Go to cool places, you know, cool coffee shops in Annapolis, cool bookstores in Vienna, and then eat sushi. And I had normally I have the Sriracha Deluxe, but this time I was like, let's
change it up.
Let's change it up. It's Valentine's Day. Let's go with the Young's Sriracha Deluxe plus 2 pieces of unagi roll.
Oh, okay.
So I had this massive $40 plate
Yeah.
of sushi, and I ate every single piece.
Yeah.
So that was like the perfect Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And I was so glad that, you know, Lisa was feeling a little better after her migraine and went away, and we could just enjoy that day.
Yeah.
And so what? It's not on the 14th, but we're not, you know, held accountable by Hallmark.
Yeah.
We can celebrate Valentine's Day whenever.
Yeah.
So we did that. And then like the rest of the week was, you know, like, you know, business as usual.
Yeah.
I caught up on The Outsider, the HBO series. I know you're digging that a lot.
Yeah.
I think we're now getting past the halfway point, and it's Monster Mash time.
Something's about to happen.
Yeah, and I think it's really, really good again. You know, the 3rd and 4th episode kind of dipped from the excitement level of the first 2 episodes, but we're back. We're back, and I'm enjoying that. And I was reading an interview with somebody involved in the show. I want to say it was a crew member, like a grip or something. I can't remember who it was. And they made reference to this French docu-series called Killing Gregory. I'm going to bring the mood of this room down real quick.
Thank you.
And he said that he saw a lot of Killing Gregory in the story of the Outlander, the Outsider. Because the Outsider is, there's a malevolent force and it does something, and you see the after effects of that crime, of that killing, and how it spreads grief throughout the entire community. And this docuseries, it's a French docuseries called Killing Gregory. It's on Netflix. You can watch it now. But I mean, you have to be in the right frame of mind. I love true crime. I can dip in and out of true crime, no problem, and still enjoy my day.
Yeah.
But Lisa's not necessarily that way.
Yeah.
So I know some people aren't. But what this is about this little kid in a small French village in 1984. He was born a year after I was, almost to the day, August 24th, 1979.
That's my dad's birthday. Not 79.
But 24th. And he's murdered. And he's murdered after 2 years of this family being harassed via phone calls, prank calls, and letters by a guy calling himself the Crow, or maybe a woman calling themselves the Crow, and just saying these awful things to this family. And then this child ends up dying, or ends up being murdered, being thrown in the river, actually. And then you watch the investigation. You get to watch how the media become like vultures and invade this town. It becomes like the headline of France. And you get to see how, because of that, the police screw everything up. People are wrongfully accused. People who might have done it get off because of technicalities. And then you get to see how death spreads, and how, and that grief just trickles into everything. And it goes from 1984 to 2017.
Damn.
And things are still happening decades later because of this case. And they tell you right up front, this murder was never solved. Shit. We will never have the answers, but I'm going to present you why we'll never have the answers. And it's like 5 hours. It's long, but it was incredibly compelling. It was infuriating in the ways that so many stories of injustice are. And again, I can't necessarily say that go out and watch Killing Gregory, but it is incredibly compelling. It does make you feel like how so many of these true crime documentaries do, like, am I part of the problem by watching these things? By getting excited by true crime? Am I perpetuating some kind of misery out there in the world for people? I do think about that a lot. I think about the sensationalism of true crime documentaries, and some are worse than others. I tried to watch one after this, and I won't even name check it, but it was so bad. It was so sensationalistic. I was like, I'm not watching this. But I think that's an important question as well, because, as geeks, as dorks, we get fascinated by human evil, serial killer stories, The Silence of the Lambs, The Outsider, all that kind of stuff. And it's good to reevaluate, why are you enjoying something? But as a double feature with The Outsider, Killing Gregory was fascinating. They really do feel like companion stories.
When The Outsider's over, I'll check it out.
Yeah, I think you would find it interesting, and I do want to talk to somebody about it.
Okay.
There's some people writing about it on articles. I know who it was. The interview was. I'm also listening to the Vanity Fair Still Watching podcast, which is all about The Outsider. So after every episode, they do a podcast and debrief, and that's where I think it was Joanna Robinson or Richard Lawson. Maybe it was Richard Lawson who suggested Killing Gregory. So I watched that. But I don't want to end my Week in Dork on that. I want to end my Week in Dork on comics.
Yeah.
I showed Darren a little bit of this before we pressed record.
Yep.
But finally, they collected the 2 issues of Tom Scioli's Fantastic Four Grand Design into a really nice, large Treasury Edition paperback. And a Treasury Edition is not quite 2 times the size of a comic book, but like a comic and a half. It's a very large format.
Show the Facebook Live.
Oh yeah,
people.
we're recording and we're doing this on Facebook Live. So if you're a listener, you're not on our Modcast Facebook page. You should really get on it because now you get to see this very far away image of this Fantastic Four Grand Design. There you go. Tom Scioli is one of my favorite artists. He did Transformers versus G.I. Joe, which might be the best tie-in comic ever. And it's, spoilers, semi-sequel GoBots comic book.
What?
Yeah. You got to read the GoBots comic book. It's a prequel to Transformers. GoBots are the ancient versions of Transformers. That's part of the narrative. I spoiled it a little bit. I don't care. As are the Rock Lords. Remember the Rock Lord Transformers? They tie Rock Lords, GoBots, and Transformers all together by the end of the GoBots comic. It is so beautiful. But Tom Scioli's doing Fantastic Four Grand Design, and it's a lot like what Ed Piskor, his fellow Pittsburgh comic book artist, did with X-Men Grand Design, where Piskor took the entirety of Chris Claremont's run on X-Men and retold it in his style with his words and his vision. And so Tom Scioli, his art is famously influenced by Jack Kirby, and Marvel said, hey, why don't you do what Ed did, but with the original first family of Marvel, Fantastic Four? And he's like, yeah, I'll retell what Stan and Jack did with those first batch of Fantastic Four comics, but I also want to give a conclusion to that storyline. Because when Stan and Jack stopped doing Fantastic Four, it just stopped. There was no climax. And Tom Scioli envisioned a climax for the story as if he was Stan and Jack creating it. And damn it, he pulls it off so well. You know, you're reading the comic and everything's familiar to you. You know, you've got the coming of Galactus and Silver Surfer. You got all the stuff with the Inhumans. You got Namor the Submariner. You got Black Panther. And then at a certain point, you're like, I don't really remember this Galactus story. Oh, it ties into Doctor Doom a little bit. And then you go, oh, this is the new stuff.
Yeah.
And the book climaxes with this epic battle to save Earth from Galactus. And you asked me this, does it feel in tone with what Stan Lee and Jack Kirby did with those original comics? And up to a point, I did not realize I was reading new material until this moment happened. And you turn a page and Black Panther shows up, and he and his Wakandan army, or his Wakandan hit squad, are flying around in Panther Zords like Voltron, and there's Black Panther, there's a yellow one, there's a pink one, there's a green one, and suddenly they form a Black Panther Voltron to battle Galactus. I was like, this didn't happen. But up until that point, I was not aware of the line in which Scioli took over.
That's got to be like the highest form of praise.
It's an amazing comic, and then it ties into Secret Wars stuff, and because he's a kid our age, he recalls the designs of those very specific action figures that they made in the 80s, and suddenly Dr. Doom's walking around and he's in the action figure uniform from Secret Wars, and he's got that lenticular shield. You're like, Scioli, props, high five. This is brilliant.
That's crazy.
So I highly recommend Fantastic Four. And it's a cool concept, like X-Men Grand Design. If you are a new reader and you're like, I don't want to read 400 issues of X-Men. I don't want to read 800 issues of Fantastic Four. This is actually like a good thing just to pick up. You go, okay, I get the basic history. I know who all the characters are, and now I can read the contemporary Fantastic Four stuff. Or with Ed Piskor's Grand Design, I can read the contemporary X-Men stuff and be okay.
Yeah.
So it's a nice little textbook. Highly, highly recommended. Oh. That's my Weekend Dork.
All right. My Weekend Dork. I had a pretty good Weekend Dork. My Weekend Dork was definitely a lot better than last week's Weekend Dork. What did I do? I had a great Valentine's Day as well. C and I every year. C is 10 now, so every year since she was born, like I had this tradition where like we would do something on Valentine's Day, like take her out on a date, right? And so this year was no different. She had been asking me for a while. She wanted to go to the Alamo. I think she's been like once, like a long, long time ago. But she's always talking.
To the Ashburn one?
I think it was that one, yeah. And she's been wanting to go. So I took her to see Sonic the Hedgehog, and
Oh, I saw that too.
yeah,
You
and
can talk about it.
I'll rather talk about the date.
Yeah, okay.
Because my thinking was, all right, like every place, like every restaurant's gonna be like crowded as far as like, reservations or just lines and stuff like that. And I figured, well, she's been wanting to go to the Alamo. She wants to see that movie, and we can eat there and not have to worry about like, waiting in line, waiting a long time. So I took her out there. Like we had a great time. I came home and she's sorry, Jen. Sorry, Sunflower. She's probably gonna kill me for putting this out there, but I'm gonna say this. So last week was really bad because I in a long distance relationship, right? And that as with any relationships, that has its difficulties, and those difficulties with the distance, like the long distance relationships definitely suffers, especially when everything is great except the distance.
It's
right?
hard.
Right. And so that's where we were. Like it seemed like it made it harder. Like it would have probably been easier if we had like a shitty or rocky or turbulent relationship and then there was distance. Then it'd probably be easy to say, you know what? This distance makes it easier for me to just, walk away or whatever. But because she's amazing and we just get along, we're like soulmates, it was hard. Anyway, that came to a head and we kind of felt like maybe we shouldn't do this, and so like that destroyed me last week, right? Well, anyway, we felt like, all right, this time apart, we just realized like it hurts worse just not being together at all than it does, with the distance and seeing each other every so, we try to see each other, as much as we can, like, every couple of months or so. And so anyway, I ended up not having to spend my Valentine's Day single, so we're working through that. So I was happy, so that made my Valentine's Day complete, and being with my daughter and also having my other baby. And so one of the things that we do with the distance and try to combat that as far as like spending quality time, is we'll FaceTime each other, or we'll call each other. So we'll queue up something on Netflix or HBO. We're watching The Outsider together. So we'll queue it up at the same time, press play, and we'll be on the phone or we'll be on FaceTime watching the show and interacting with each other. And so that's what, I did this weekend. We watched this show, The Stranger, on Netflix.
I've heard good things about it.
So I've been hearing good things.
No.
Not good. I have been hearing about it. Like I just been seeing it pop up on social media, but not really reading too much into it. And so she suggested that, I think, was it yesterday? The day before yesterday. What's today? Sunday. So Friday. I think it was Friday, like Valentine's night. Like she suggested, like we watch that. So we started. We finished it yesterday. Last night we watched one half, or a little over half the first night, and then we finished the rest of it last night. So anyway, it stars the lady from she plays she's the ghost in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh, I cannot remember her name at the moment.
I'll tell you her name. It is Hannah John Kamen.
That's it.
Anyway, she is this stranger, and what she does is she goes to this town, and she starts revealing these really dangerous secrets to these seemingly random group of people, right? And so she comes up to this one guy and she says, hey, basically, your wife faked her pregnancy, and she also faked the loss of that child as well. Like when she faked the miscarriage too. And he's like, wait, who the hell are you? What are you talking about? And you also might want to get a DNA test for your kids. And she leaves, right? And he's like, what the hell? And then she goes to this other person and she tells him, hey, in this envelope is the truth about your past and your wild and loose days. You got a kid out there somewhere. And she just bounces. So what she does, she goes and she plants these seeds in these different characters' lives in their head, and then shit just starts unraveling, and ultimately, like, these different people, I kind of don't want to spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil it.
But you didn't love it.
Only because, like, some of it felt like, I want to say there was only 8 episodes, and some of the one or two of the storylines or the storylines felt like unnecessary. Like, when it was over, I was thinking back. Jennifer and I looked back and we were like, okay, so with this one kid, like, if you take that out, the rest of the show plays out the exact same way. Like, what was the point in that? And granted, some of that, I mean, the stuff that was in question was like, when you're watching it, it was, interesting to watch. But at the end of the day, like, it was like unnecessary filler almost. So the episodes, I mean, it could have been like maybe 6 episodes or something like that. But anyway, it's kind of fun it's fun. It's more fun initially, I guess, when you go, okay, why is she doing this? And watching these people, it's almost like once the seed is planted in their head of this, the truth to this secret that someone that they know, someone close to them is keeping or whatever, it's almost like the person begins their own, not necessarily undoing, but it's opening, like, it's like opening Pandora's box, and like the situation gets, their lives get turned completely upside down just from knowing the truth of this one thing. And so it kind of poses the question of, like, damn, were they better off not knowing, or is it more beneficial for them to have, the truth, even though they have a right to the truth, right? It is their life and they are affected by it. But look at what happened, once they knew the truth. And I don't know, like, it poses some interesting questions, but at the end of the day, it isn't really aiming to be like super thought provoking in a way to make you question stuff. Like, I mean, those questions will run through your mind, but really it's just the drama of like a television drama, The performances are cool. Like, there's this one guy, he's a police officer, and his character is kind of like on edge. Like when we get to know more about him, he has a secret that's revealed to him that is just nuts and out of left field. And so you're like, wait, what the hell? But anyway, when you first meet him, he's kind of like manic and on edge or whatever. And I'm like, man, that guy looks familiar. I remarked to Jennifer, he reminds me, he kind of looks like the principal from Anna and the Apocalypse. Shout out to that movie. If you haven't seen that movie, you need to watch that movie. That movie's great. And she was like, oh, yeah, he kind of does. So anyway, like, right before we started recording, like, I did IMDb, as you said, as you should have IMDb up. Turns out it is that guy. Aside of feature-wise, like facial feature-wise, there's a similarity. But also, like, if you've seen Anna and the Apocalypse, you remember, like, he just felt off. I'm not even off. Like, you knew, like, okay, he's not right.
He's not a good guy.
Right.
Yeah.
And this guy, he has that. But then also, like, in Anna and the Apocalypse, like, that actor, like, he's able to be, like, super theatrical and, like, pour the performance on. But also, that guy, just noticed in IMDb, he also was in Game of Thrones. So he's able to go from a really dark, dramatic end of the spectrum to something like that's really showing, performing, and sing and dance in Anna and the Apocalypse.
I love him in Anna and the Apocalypse.
So shout out to that guy. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I will tell you, Paul K is his name.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah,
he's so good.
He's the principal in Anna and the Apocalypse. Anyway, so the show The Stranger, I don't know, man. Like, with all the discussion and controversy about the advent of Netflix's original programming and stuff like that, whether it be movies, TV shows, or theatrical stuff, or their bid for the Oscars, or streaming versus theatrical stuff, I don't know, man, like, coupled with the offerings, like the stuff that you say, like the documentaries and things like that, and just series like this, because at the end of the day, like, if this were something that were on network television, I would have never watched that show. Like, I don't have, for some reason, I don't have interest in network television or even network programming. I think it's because my life is such where I don't know that every Tuesday I'm going to be free at 8 p.m. to catch the next episode of that show, right? So I got to say, I appreciate, and granted, I'm not necessarily in love with that show, but that experience of watching that with my woman, like, I wouldn't trade that for the world, right? You know, like, you know, watching her be surprised by reveals and stuff like that, or just us trying to figure out the show together. So I wouldn't trade that for the world. So I do appreciate, you know, that experience, and, you know, Netflix affords me that. And I don't know. So maybe I had a cool weekend, Dork. I saw Sonic, man.
Yeah, Sonic. I went and watched it with my buddy Robert and Matt.
Yeah.
And Matt is the colorist on Sonic the Hedgehog
the
comics.
Yeah.
As well as many other things. And you should buy issue 1 of Marvel Voices because he's coloring Sanford Green, who's one of my favorite artists. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
Marvel's now has Matt Herms under their banner, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
So it was fun to go watch it with him, and, you know, because I played Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Genesis. I played a lot of it.
Yeah.
Especially Sonic 2. I was like way into Sonic 2.
Yeah.
And I was like Team Sega when all the kids, I was gonna say the cool kids, all the kids were Nintendo. I was holding hard onto that Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll get the Dreamcast as well. I bought the 32X.
Yeah.
I bought the Sega CD.
Wow.
I was Team Sega.
Huh.
But, you know, those video games, especially back then, the side scrollers, there wasn't much plot in those games, right? You go from left to right. Dr. Robotnik, Eggman, he's there. You try to beat him.
Yeah.
And I never got into the Sonic cartoon, and I certainly never read the comic books. But Matt, you know, he's well versed in the Sonic mythology. And so I was excited to watch it with him and to see if the film got it right. And, you know, the film opens up and they're in the green zone or whatever the hell that is.
Yeah.
And there's this owl character, and I'm like, who's that? And Matt goes, I don't know.
No, right.
And then there was an army of Knuckles.
Yeah.
Like, who are all these Knuckles? And so, yeah, it really had nothing to do with the comic book mythology.
Yeah.
And, you know, it does that Smurfs thing, the Chipmunks thing, where they bring the cartoon characters into the real world. And that's just not what I want. Like, if you're going to make a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, give me that first 15 minutes or that first 5 minutes of the movie where we're in Sonic Land. I want to go to that world.
Yeah.
And I was going to spoil the ending of Sonic, but there's a post-credit stinger. When that character comes up, you're like...
Kids lost their shit.
I bet they did. We had 7 people in our premiere screening in Theater A of the Alamo.
Damn. That's where C and I were.
Yeah, but you saw it probably on Friday, right? Yeah, on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So, kids can actually go and watch movies at that night. When we saw it, nothing happened. But that's the world I want. And as fun as James Marsden is bouncing off of Ben Schwartz's Hedgehog, and I think Ben Schwartz does a good job of bringing a voice and a character to that animated character.
Yeah.
But it's just like, okay, well, this is just stupid.
Yeah.
And Jim Carrey.
That was like 90s Jim Carrey. That was like
almost. It was almost 90s Jim Carrey, except it was not 90s Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
The thrill is gone.
Oh.
I don't know. I did not enjoy Jim Carrey's performance as Eggman, Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah. Was it because he was too mean-spirited?
It was just, I just wasn't funny. I just didn't laugh at his jokes. There's a couple things where you got to chuckle out. But
yeah, same.
Most of the time I was just like, oof.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Yeah.
Anything else that you want to add about Sonic the Hedgehog?
No, you
Excited
said
about that sequel?
You said it all. You know what? When that character came up, I was like, well, shit. And that should have been why wasn't I looking for him earlier in the movie?
Yeah, where's that buddy film?
Yeah.
Why is James Marsden in this?
Yeah. So and Sia lost her shit, and I was like, okay.
Did Sia like it? Did she have a good time?
She enjoyed it. She enjoyed it. Yeah. So I mean, at the very least, it worked on that level. My enjoyment for that date in that movie was watching her and watch the movie.
Did Sia appreciate the Naked Gun reference?
No. No.
Why is there a Naked Gun reference in this?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, the movie exists.
But it's it is I think if you just removed it totally from the concept of Sonic the Hedgehog, which they basically did, you could kind of enjoy it as, a night out at the movies.
Yeah.
I've seen far worse. I enjoyed it more than Detective Pikachu.
Oh, wow. All right. I was going to say, so there were like adults and their parents there were in there, and they were chuckling. There were these people, because we sat in the back row, the very under the projector. And that was my first time sitting that far back in Theater A. And there were these parents in their row with us, and they were enjoying it. They laughed almost the entire time. This one lady, I could tell she was like a Jim Carrey fan. Like he was just gold to her. So that was fun just watching her enjoy it. But yeah, I mean, what I do want to ask you about though, before we put a wrap on this half of the week, this episode. So the suit of Robert Pattinson in Batman. Yeah. What do you think?
Looks rad.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I like that pop collar. I like a pop collar.
I like that. I like the score too, like the music, like that was.
Yeah, the Giacchino score. Yeah. That was great when we went to Comic-Con last year before that news dropped. Giacchino accidentally dropped that news in that panel that we went and saw. That composer panel that Lisa's always been trying to get to.
Yeah.
So we knew about it. And that didn't get reported on, really. And so, I love the score. Everyone's like, it looks like Daredevil because they put a red filter on it. Just shut up, everybody. Yeah. And of course, anytime there's anything related to Batman, certain people voice their concern and outrage and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Every time someone's cast as Batman, you'd think we'd all just relax. There are many flavors of Batman and enjoy the one that you like, but I enjoy all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm really excited. And, Matt Reeves doing Batman, it's got to be interesting.
Yeah.
It might not end up being your favorite Batman, but it might.
And there's a stellar actor in the role.
Hell yeah.
Robert Pattinson is no slouch. He's an incredible performer. That he's one of those ones that just continues to get better with every film that he does. He takes his craft seriously, and he comes across as respectful to the art of it and his characters and his material. It shines through in every performance. I really do appreciate the stuff that he's done post-Twilight.
He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Easy.
Have you seen the comments about the bat symbol?
Yeah.
How it might be the parts of the gun that Joe Chill used to kill.
So has that ever happened in the comic?
It's straight out of Kevin Smith's run on the character. Kevin Smith's run on the Winding Gyre added that into the concept. In Batman Year 2, which Todd McFarlane illustrated, Batman still had the gun from Joe Chill, and he uses it against a villain in Batman Year 2. So it's one of my favorite images is Batman cocking the gun that killed his parents to go after another bad guy. I'm like, I don't know if I agree with this philosophically.
I just read that maybe it was Matt Reeves that said recently that in this film, Batman will be in his second year of being Batman.
That's cool.
Huh.
Yeah, I think I think that's an interesting time period.
Yeah.
If it turns out to be part of the storyline that he took his parents' gun or the gun that killed his parents and made it the bat symbol, interesting. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I don't know because I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah.
So let's just watch that movie.
Yeah. All right. What else? What else we got? What else we do? What else we got from our weekend? I think that's it. I'm stalling because I'm trying to delay the inevitable.
It's no. We got to get into the pleasures of Fantasy Island. The plane.
I feel like maybe we should have did the photograph.
Yeah. Brian was pushing for a photograph review cast, and I think we denied him because he wasn't going to be here.
Yeah.
So if he wasn't going to be here, he doesn't get to pick the review.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess the moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. We gotta. The chicken has come home to roost. We when we come back from the break, we will be doing our review cast this week for the Blumhouse picture Fantasy Island, starring Michael Pena and Maggie Q and the girl from Truth or Dare.
That's where she's from.
Yeah, she's like the main girl from Truth or Dare. Also directed by Jeff Wadlow, the guy who directed Fantasy Island. More on that later.
Kick-Ass 2. He directed Kick-Ass 2.
He did direct Kick-Ass 2. When we come back for the break, we're going to talk about that movie and spoilers. So
go watch that movie.
Warning. So go. Go watch them. Yeah, you know what?
Movies.
Your mileage may vary. Yeah, movies. I mean, get out of the house. Like, you see something new. I don't know. There'll probably be some good trailers in front of that movie you might enjoy.
There
right?
were. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. When we come back from the break, ladies and gentlemen, Fantasy Island.
Hey, this is Liz from People I Think Are Cool, a bi-weekly podcast where I interview my favorite creatives from across the globe. If you're looking for a dose of creative inspiration, then go to peopleithinkarecool.com or subscribe to People I Think Are Cool on iTunes and Stitcher.
You like film, from cult to classic, from blockbuster to B-movies. And there just isn't that one place with all the fan fervor and passion that's covering the kind of mad, diverse brilliance that you love.
Well, that's where you're wrong.
AfterMovieDiner.com is that fan-built movie nirvana just for you, featuring the sweet, sweet writings of the Wife Dork herself. AfterMovieDiner.com. Go there. Be the best you can be.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with our review cast for Fantasy Island.
Blumhouse's
Fantasy Island. Why they want to claim it like that? All right, you know what? I'm going to be positive.
Yeah.
I'm going to be positive.
Yeah, don't spoil your total opinion yet.
Yeah.
The review's not over. I could change your mind.
You know what? I'm gonna be open-minded to that.
Yeah. And, well, I guess the first question is.
Yes.
Were you a Fantasy Island watcher? Did you watch Mr. Rourke Con?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
I never did.
Really?
Yeah, never did.
Well, I have to say I owe that to my dad. My father was really a fan of that show, and it was one of those shows that, because my dad was watching and I was so little, and I was my father's shadow, I was always up under him. I would just watch it, not necessarily in passing. What do you say? Just by proxy, I would see it. I would take it in.
It's like Murder, She Wrote with me and my mom.
Yeah, it's like that. So Fantasy Island was my dad's Murder, She Wrote. And so I was aware of it. I can't tell you a single thing about any particular episode, like a storyline for one of the episodes. I knew it was episodic in that every week there was someone else who came there to the island, and there was and I haven't seen it since I was a kid, but this is what I remember. It's funny. There's a line mentioned at the end of the film where he says, "Fantasies are like dreams. You don't remember them, but you remember how you felt." I remember how it felt watching the show. Like, there was always this, like, not a Twilight Zone, like an uneasy, like something was off about
the experience, yeah.
Like something these people were going to go through. They were always happy to get there, and there's this picturesque setting and stuff like that. But I always knew, like, something bad's going to happen.
My understanding is that it started off much more Twilight Zone-y and darker and moodier than what it eventually became.
Yeah, it did. And I remember Hervé Villechaire's tattoo.
The plane.
That was my recollection of the show as far as now going into this movie.
Does get name checked. I mean, that line does come up.
I have something to say about that, surprisingly.
I bet you do. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that's where we are with Fantasy Island. So if you are tuning into this podcast because you are diehard Fantasy Island lovers,
I love you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
And I hope we don't offend you with our lack of Fantasy Island appreciation or knowledge.
Yeah.
So let's do this.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna do our good, the bad, the ugly. Again, if you haven't seen the film, spoiler warning. We're going to get into spoilers. So go check it out and then come back and listen and contribute. Also, Brad was just talking to you, diehard Fantasy Island watchers. Hit us up on social media. Let me know if there are any callbacks to the show, Easter eggs, as far as like any particular like story or thematic elements, or they veer completely away from the show. Because like I said, I don't remember anything about it. I just remember like a particular mood when watching.
Well, and this is a full spoilers cast, so please watch it, because I'm about to spoil something for you right now.
Okay.
But surprise, Fantasy Island is an origin story of Tattoo.
That's my good.
When that was revealed, I was like, clever. Shock, surprise, amazing. I appreciated that.
Yeah, that I'm gonna just jump into it. So when that happened, it made me it did the usual suspect thing. It made me go back and reevaluate the rest of the movie, and I go, okay, am I cool with the movie now? Like, because if I think about it if I think about this movie in those terms of this is a Tattoo origin story, I might give this movie 3 stars. But if I think about it in any other way, it's got like a half a star in Letterboxd, maybe.
Yeah, because the general plot is, the plane shows up on Fantasy Island, and it's like a group of people who all want to live their fantasies, and they all have different fantasies, and they've come to Mr. Rourke to get those done based on what they've heard. And 2 of the characters, the 2 stepbrothers, played by Jimmy Yang, who plays Brax, and Ryan Hansen, who plays Bradley. No, he doesn't play Bradley. He plays JD. IMDb has it wrong.
Uh-oh.
They have him listed as Bradley. But he's from Veronica Mars. I always liked him in Veronica Mars. So when he showed up...
I like him in most of the stuff. He's
a little bit of a low-rent
Dak Shepard. It's not just me.
High five!
Yeah.
But given the right script, he might be better than Dak Shepard, I'd say.
Yeah?
I think so. And so, their characters were certainly my 2 favorite characters of the film. And even though there's some really awkward-ass writing around them and some uncomfortable stuff, problematic stuff, but when it's revealed, because JD keeps saying that Brax, he keeps calling him T, which was some college nickname, right? And then you learn at the very end of the movie that T stands for tattoo, because he had the word tattoo tattooed on his body when he was drunk one day. And you're like, what?
When I was like, is this going where I think when he said, all right, I can bring your friend back, but you're going to have to stay on this island forever.
You knew it then?
I was like, is this tattoo? But then when they start going with the dialogue and the name thing, as soon as he started talking, I was like, oh my God, it's tattoo. Holy shit. And then when he shows it, I put my hands up. I was like, yes, this is great. It literally made the rest of that movie worth it for me. And when I was walking out, I was like, okay, if I view this as a tattoo origin story, I'm good with this movie. So that's how I reconcile with the hour and 47 minutes I spent.
All right. Yeah, I enjoyed that as well.
Did not see that coming up until that point.
No.
I have to say, I did not see that coming.
No, I sure did not.
I tell you what, what's his Ryan Hansen and Jimmy Yang, when they came on screen, their report, I was like, these 2 feel so familiar. I know Ryan Hansen. Basically, they're in Like a Boss.
Oh, those 2 characters or those 2 actors?
Those 2 actors, but they're almost the same. In Like a Boss, it's Tiffany Haddish and Rose Byrne. They have this cosmetic company that oh my God, Selma Hayek she's a big billionaire mogul, and she basically wants to buy them out and bring them under her umbrella or whatever. So she has competing small independent companies trying to vie for her attention and buyout. Ryan Hansen and Jimmy Yang, they're these 2 millennial social media influencer guys who have their own line of like fashion men's, or it's really chauvinistic and like it's really bad or whatever. But they're buddies, like they're best buddies, and it's so when they came on screen, I was like, I was sure about Ryan Hansen, but I was like, is that the Asian guy? Is that the same guy? And it's him. Like they're like this duo. They're
interesting. Yeah, they should pop up in multiple franchises.
They should. I'd be down for it.
Yeah,
I'd be down for it.
I'd watch their movie.
Me too.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that what they're getting us ready for?
I don't know.
Because they work great together.
I thought they were great together. Their fantasy was to have it all. So Mr. Rourke takes them to that party that's like loaded with models. And, Ryan Hansen's straight and Jimmy Yang's character is gay. And so there's men and women. And then Kim Coates shows up and he's running this like terrorist organization.
Can I ask a question? Why hasn't Kim Coates played a Russian before now?
Has he not played a Russian? Yeah, I don't know. He's played like every kind of bad guy.
Yeah. What's your favorite Kim Coates bad guy?
Say Resident Evil.
Really?
Yeah, he's not necessarily a bad guy. He's the guy who betrays the group, and I think that's Resident Evil Afterlife. It's the 3D one with the prison.
Mm-hmm. You know what my favorite one is?
What?
The Last Boy Scout.
Oh well, I mean that's the first time I ever saw him.
Really?
I think.
Yeah.
And he's perfection in that movie. I mean, he's so scuzzy.
Yeah.
In The Last Boy Scout.
But he's great. Let me ask you, so with Ryan and Jimmy, with Ron and Greg, their characters. Did you feel like when it cut to their fantasy or just their characters in general, the movie had like a tonal shift, like it was going lighter to comedy?
I think there was many tonal shifts in Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
And I think they could have played this movie up and pushed those tonal shifts even further. They could have leaned in, and they could have made Fantasy Island, which they almost did, into an anthology film, right? Because it feels like you're following...
Is that the story? They were going to do that?
I have no idea, but it feels like it to me because you have what they're going through with Kim Coates. You have the guy who is has daddy issues, and he's found himself in the jungles of Venezuela with his dead dad, and he gets to maybe save his dead dad. You have Maggie Q, who's going through this like Revolutionary Road marital drama or crisis of self at the very least. She's going through a completely different kind of story. And then you've got the girl from Truth or Dare living out her Saw fantasies.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they had leaned into the insane collection of tones, there would have been a better movie.
Yeah, now that you mention it and thinking back on it like that, if Fantasy Island had been like an anthology movie, I think it would have played a lot better. Like a lot better.
And then you have Mr. Rourke to introduce each story.
Yep.
You know?
And because so the tonal differences wouldn't affect each individual, because you got to remember, as it is now, you're cutting from the comedy of T and his brother to like the more dramatic story of Maggie Q, and then to the teen PG-13 Blumhouse horror of the girl with the revenge fantasy.
Yeah, and Michael Rooker and like.
So the tonal shifts feel like more abrupt and not coherent. Whereas if you just stuck with Maggie Q for 20 minutes and then ended her story and then jumped to like the comedy to break up the tension,
or you did a whole film about Maggie Q's experience or any of these other guys.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly my least. We're doing the good, but. My least favorite stories were Daddy Issues in the Jungle and Saw Girl.
Yeah.
And, like, those really were not working for me.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to get in. We're in the good. Stay good, Brad. We're good. The reason
are you gonna mention Mr. Rooker?
Well, I think that's my other good. My other good is the side players, right?
Yeah.
So you have Kim Coates.
Yeah.
He's doing a 2D character, but he's good at that character.
He's having fun doing it.
You've got Michael Rooker being Michael Rooker, and he's great, and his hair is nuts.
Yeah.
I love his hair. Like this a jungle steamed frizz that he has going on.
Yeah.
And then you have who's the third guy? Oh, and Michael Pena as Mr. Rourke.
Yeah.
And we're good. And I like all those three people. I want to get back to Michael Pena in the bad, but I like those actors a lot, and I like Maggie Q a lot. I think there are strong performers in the film.
Yeah.
And I was never bored watching Fantasy Island. I was rolling my eyes and maybe watching a little bit through my fingers because it was so embarrassing at times. But I like... You go to a Friday night at Tyson's Corner at the AMC.
Yeah.
You've got a rowdy crowd. You know, half of them are on their phones. But this is the kind of movie where you don't mind it.
Yeah. Did the crowd have fun with it?
Some did, and some didn't.
Okay.
It was definitely like a swath of people who were leaving and going like, "Woof, what did we just pay for?"
Yeah.
But there was lots of teens, and like that teen crowd seemed to like it. We were sitting in the handicap row, not in the handicap seats, but so I could have the leg room.
Yeah.
You know, where you just kick your legs out into the aisle.
Yeah.
Which means I'm seated on the far right, which is right by the doorway.
Yeah.
And there were 4 teens who watched the entire film from the doorway and then would pull back from the doorway and then have a conversation amongst themselves, and then something exciting would happen, and then they would come to the doorway. So you constantly heard them talking the entire time. But again, Fantasy Island, I don't, it's kind of the spirit. Like, it worked for me. I like
really?
it.
That would have killed me.
No, it didn't. I mean, it's not like I'm watching The Hateful Eight,
Yeah.
where I'm like, this is cinema. How dare you disrespect Quentin Tarantino? I'm going to stand in front of you until you be quiet.
Yeah.
That's not Brad's method with Blumhouse's.
Jeff Wadlow just doesn't command that type of respect.
Not yet. Not yet, Jeff Wadlow. Not yet.
All right. What about the bad?
So you're talking about the tones?
Yeah.
So that is awkward.
Yeah.
But also just the editing, and maybe it's enhanced by how crazy the tones are. But I think it's some of the worst editing I've ever seen in a movie. Like these smash edits they would have, and the sound effects, the sound design was extremely poor. It felt very cheap because of that. Like, it didn't look cheap, but it sounded cheap. And it all just came together like a third grader's glue stick collage project. I mean, it just looked like butt.
Jeez.
That's mean. I don't mean to be mean. Mr. Wadlow's a person. I respect anybody who can make a movie and get a movie done. And like I said, I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
But it just looked like stitched together in a very strange way.
Yeah.
And then the ending feels like it was a rewrite. When they suddenly,
so from what part? Because
from the part where
it is convoluted.
From the part where it's revealed that Truth or Dare actor has been orchestrating this entire
she's
thing.
The main fantasy.
And it's a revenge film because all of these people kind of were responsible for the death of their friend. And like, kinda. It's not I Know What You Did Last Summer. They didn't just run down Gordon's fisherman.
No.
Maggie Q was in her apartment and she forgot about her tea, which caused a fire. And the fire went to the floor above her where this guy Nick was, and he burned alive because his buddies didn't know he was still in the room because they thought he had left earlier. And a cop didn't go back into a burning building because he didn't want to burn to death himself.
He wanted to wait for the fire department.
He wanted to wait for the fire department and act responsibly because they all kind of were present when this dude burned alive. She was going to take him to Fantasy Island, which she learned about, and include her high school chum or her high school bully.
Yeah.
Like, what? None of that makes any sense.
No.
Not satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah. When that happened, I was like, because they could have ended it like, so that reveal comes when they figure out, all right, there's this magical rock in these caverns. If we blow that up, we will basically break the cycle of what's keeping these fantasies going. So they make their way through these caverns. And then that's when the reveal of the girl from Truth or Dare, she turns around, she stabs Army guy in the stomach. And that's when what you just explained plays out. But if they had gone down there and just blown that thing up, if Michael Pena had come down, if Mr. O'Rourke had come down there to stop them, and then still had the conflict of his wife or whatever, it would have been fine.
Yeah,
it would have been fine.
It would have been the same movie.
It would have been the exact same movie.
Truth or Dare girl wouldn't have been pulled down into the water for some reason.
Yeah.
Why does Truth or Dare girl go through the motions of the Saw thing?
I don't know.
Because she's not being watched. Now, she is filming herself.
Yeah.
But she's going through this play like, oh, I think I'm killing a hologram. But, oh, no, I'm not killing a hologram. I'm killing a real person. Oh, no, I'm killing the person that did torment me. Yeah. The island has manifested her.
But with reveal of her motives of getting everybody there, she would have had to known that this shit was going to be real because that was her whole point of wanting everybody to come.
And then that girl, the bully, has nothing to do with the fire.
No.
It's total rewrite.
It's nuts.
Yeah. They were like, we don't like our original ending. Let's get something even wackier and more conspiratorial.
And that's crazy because like none of this even occurred to me while I was watching the movie. I was just letting that shit wash over me because like I was numb. I was like, I don't even know what the fuck is going on. This like it just wasn't my bag. And then that stuff started happening, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's funny because Blumhouse has made some of my very favorite low budget, cheap, gnarly horror films.
Yeah.
And then they drop something like this and something like Truth or Dare, and you go like, oh, okay, they're not gold, but this movie's still going to make its money back.
Yeah.
You know, the system they've got,
Truth or Dare is a way better movie than Fantasy Island.
Yeah, I agree. And Truth or Dare is better than Kick-Ass 2. If we're ranking Jeff Wadlow films,
yeah,
I would actually say that Jeff Wadlow's best films are Never Back Down and Cry Wolf. His first two films, yeah. He's tapped, according to IMDb, to direct an adaptation of the J. Scott Campbell comic Danger Girl?
No.
Right? Please don't.
Shout out to Paul. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah. Shout out to Paul. Danger Girl #1.
No.
Yeah. No, I'd love a Cheesecake Danger Girl film, but not from Jeff Wadlow.
They must not really care about that property.
Well, it's not like, once you make that deal, once you sell the option to your right, you don't get to pick unless you write it into the contract.
I mean, the
who's
studio,
directing it.
the studio must not have faith
Hey,
in
Jeff
that
Wadlow, he's making, making movies. He keeps getting a job, which is, speaks to the problem we have in this system. Jeff Wadlow keeps getting a job.
Yeah. Is that it for your bad?
Oh, damn. I guess, is there anything else that you really wanted to harp on?
Not really harp on it, but I wasn't. One of the reasons why it was hard for me to engage in the film to the point where I was just letting it just wash over me is because of the script.
It's terrible.
And so, I can get with, a script that is written with comedy in mind, but when it feels like the script is dated and also like the jokes, not even just dated as far as jokes, but just dialogue in general, like the way people talk, but also like when the jokes just aren't funny, the characters are not going to resonate with me.
Yeah, there's like gay panic stuff in this. There's like misogyny in it. Like, it's super. It feels like not even 90s. It feels like 80s idea of punching down comedy at times.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
Yeah, and so I don't know. Like that was kind of lost on me. Like what is the thought process? So much so that you mentioned that there were some teenagers in your audience seemingly enjoying the film. When I was watching it, I was thinking, okay, hearing the dialogue and hearing like the lowbrow humor and just the nature of the script and stuff like that, I was thinking, okay, so is this maybe because I'm 43 years old now, so maybe this movie, I'm not the target audience for this. But in also thinking about the youth of today and like the mindset of the youth today, like, whether it be, in talking to my cousins or, people that are close to me or whatever, or my godchildren, and knowing like what the what the kids are, what's in how kids think and talk, I'm thinking like, would they even enjoy? I don't even see like them enjoying this. Like I don't. So who is this pandering to? Like I don't know. I don't know. Like because
I think this is a movie, and like Truth or Dare, that comes out. It doesn't really engage anyone and will just disappear. And I'm sure there'll be fans of it. Like every movie is somebody's favorite movie. Yeah. And there'll be some diehard Fantasy Island freaks out there. Yeah. But this is not Happy Death Day to You, which is like, whoa, what a surprise.
Right.
Oh, this is delightful. Give me 10 of these movies. Yeah. And that's what I was hoping for, because Blumhouse has, pulled off some hat tricks. Mm-hmm. And that's a hockey term.
Yeah.
I don't know if I used it.
You did right.
Okay.
You did.
And so like I will show up to any cheap ass Blumhouse movie.
Yeah.
Because I respect the model.
I do too.
I respect the creativity that you often find.
And I mean, at the end of the day, truth be told, it's not like they have a track record of a bunch of Fantasy Islands. Like you said, they have put out some really strong offerings. And Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2, that franchise, it's crazy that I can say that's a franchise. That's one of my favorite of recent memory, right? It's so good. It takes something, a low budget horror and, teen PG-13 type movie or whatever, studio film, and have a serial killer trying to figure out who it is, and they inject it with something unique, and then they follow it up with a sequel that just takes it into like a whole other thing, which that in and of itself is a tremendous feat, and it be good and it actually work, and then you want more of that. So they've earned my loyalty, and again, it's one of the reasons why I was like, we should do Fantasy Island instead of the Photograph for our review cast. But this particular one just wasn't my bag. I feel like
and I love Michael Pena, right?
And I enjoyed him. I did we talk about him in The Good?
We talked about, I mean, I said that I like Michael Pena in The Good, and it's always good to see him.
Yeah, well, obviously he is no Ricardo Montalban, but I feel like for this movie, he was good. And if anything, he was so good, and there were glimpses of really interesting things that made me wish they explored.
So at the end of the film, when it's revealed why he is doing what he's doing because of the love of his wife, Julia, who he's also kind of torturing by bringing her back to life so that she can relive her sick cycle because she's dying of cancer and bleeding from the nose. But he can't let her go. And when he has that conversation with her and he finally does let her go and he takes the wedding ring off, that's like a powerful little moment.
He sold the shit out of it.
And you go like, well, why isn't this the movie?
Yeah. So I think that I did say I didn't like the script, but I'd be remiss if I didn't say that scene works. It's a testament to that bit of writing in that script, but also Michael Pena's performance in selling it. It does make you wish that was the rest of the movie, though. All right, what about The Ugly?
I mean, The Ugly, let's see. It's The Ugly is Michael Rooker going down.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Yondu didn't fly that time.
Yeah.
No Mary Poppins.
I think also what was kind of ugly was the creatures that are operating on Fantasy Island, like the manifestations of the rock and the water. It creates like these hydro people, these water people.
Oh, yeah.
And when they die, their little eyeballs go...
yeah, they burst with black fluid.
Yeah, and I thought, oh, that's kind of gross.
Yeah.
That's nasty.
Yeah.
That's my ugly.
Let me see.
Good luck.
My ugly is I think mine was like it was something that had to do with the character, like something someone said.
Does it have to do with chastity and how Ryan Hansen's like, you chasshole? You're like, oh, that's the worst slur. Chasshole. Poor chastity.
Dude, I didn't hear yippee-ki yeah or whatever you said.
Yippee-ki yes.
I didn't hear yippee-ki yes. I didn't hear you chasshole. Like shit was just going over. I don't know. I was in a haze watching that movie.
That's why you gotta watch it at the AMC at Tyson's Corner because it's loud.
That's where I just came from.
Really?
Yeah, Theater 7.
That's where I saw it too. Theater 7. It's not like it was in IMAX or anything.
I sat in that row with the rail, I probably sat in your seat.
You sat in my seat, probably.
Oh my goodness! I totally missed that.
Chasshole.
Oh yeah, I guess I don't know. So the scene when she gets into when the Truth or Dare girl gets into when they first come in there. And like she's just throwing herself hard on Army Guy.
Oh yeah,
like just that dialogue. Like
that's bad. That's ugly.
I was like, why are you talking like that? Like, why did you agree to read that script out loud? I don't know. But at the end of the day, it was a movie. Like I saw it, I got to spend. But I will say this again. That reveal, like if I think about this movie. If by some miracle I end up rewatching this movie and I go into it with the mindset from the beginning, oh shit, I'm about to watch Tattoo's origin story, I guarantee you it's going to play differently for me.
Yeah. Like, if you only watch 5 movies a year, don't watch Fantasy Island.
No.
But if you watch 200 films a year, I tell you right now, this is not the worst film you're going to see this year.
No.
And it's not the worst film I have seen this year.
What did I just recently say? Oh, The Turning. Oh, my God. This movie was nowhere near as bad as The Turning. Holy shit. That's still the worst movie I've seen this year.
I think The Grudge movie is a better made movie than Fantasy Island. And is a better acted movie, certainly, than Fantasy Island.
Yeah.
It's not as enjoyable as Fantasy Island. Like, The Grudge movie, for me, ultimately ended up being a bummer in how dull I felt it was.
Yeah.
Whereas Fantasy Island, I'm just here to eat popcorn and take it in.
Yeah. And it has
laugh.
And the ending is great. Like the reveal is.
Yeah, and there's something fun about going like, what's happening? What?
Yeah.
What? Like, that's a little bit of that goes against my trying not to be so judgmental, but it's Jeff Wadlow makes it hard.
Yeah, I tell you what though, it's one of those films where it matters who you watch it with. I think because if I had watched it with you,
we'd had a blast.
Yeah, we would have had a ball. We would have had a ball.
Yeah.
We've watched several terrible movies and had great experiences.
Yeah, and I think the fact that this was Lisa and I's Valentine movie.
Oh.
You know,
it had something to do with it.
It had something to do with it. We had a good time.
That's good.
We're watching a movie on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Perfect movie experience.
Yeah. All right. Well, see, I was alone in my viewing today, so that probably had something to do with it too. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, Fantasy Island. Hit us up on social media at ItModcast and let us know what you thought of the film. Again, your mileage may vary, and we're open to that. If you love it, I want to love the fact that you love it. So let us know at ItModcast. You can follow Brian Young, the Turtle Dork, on Twitter at the Turtle Dork, and on Instagram at the Turtle Dork1, and at Brian William Young on Facebook. You can wish Wife Dork a happy self-care day at Sidewalk Siren on Twitter and at Sidewalk Siren on Instagram. She's also at Bake Dork on Twitter and Instagram. Brad Gullickson is at Mouth Dork on all social medias. What are you looking forward to? What comes out this week?
Well, tonight, after we get done recording, we're heading out to the Alamo Drafthouse in Winchester, Virginia for our Still Awesome Session 22 screening of Spike Lee's Denzel Washington. No, Spike Lee's Inside Man starring Denzel Washington, which is part of the Denzel Washington marathon that the Alamo is putting together.
I see what you did there.
So yeah, you definitely want to check out their Facebook page, the Alamo Film Club page, our Still Awesome Facebook page, our It Modcast Facebook page, because you will see so many rad films in your future. Still Awesome alone, we've been planning the next 6 months of screenings.
We got some good stuff coming up.
We got great stuff coming up. On March 29th, we are doing a 30th anniversary screening of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
How beside himself do you think Brian truly is?
I think he is crazy excited.
On a scale of Baxter Stockman to
what's another villain?
Krang.
Yeah. Ooh, I think he's full Krang.
Yeah?
I think the Turtle Dork is full Krang right now. He's
covered in
busting
slime.
that dome. He's definitely covered in slime. Very veiny. Yeah. He's full Krang.
Pink and fleshy.
Pink and fleshy. He's full Krang because he's that excited about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Please tell Brian when you see him online or in person that he looks full Krang right now. Very shiny. He's got to put some sort of lubricant on that.
Oh, goodness.
Also, before that, though, it's not a Still Awesome screening, but it's one that we're very excited about. On March 9th, at the Alamo Drafthouse in Winchester, Virginia, we are showing Twin Peaks Fire Walk With Me.
Oh, yeah.
With Cheryl Lee, Laura Palmer herself, in attendance.
Is it Full Moon Junction or Two Moon Junction?
I think it's Two Moon Junction, if I remember correctly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Random 12-year-old, 13-year-old thought.
It's a good movie. Damn it. I was doing so well after that whole Krang business. So that's going on, and we can't reveal what the next batch of Still Awesome screenings are going to be, but we're going into the summer. We really want to highlight some of the best and weirdest summer blockbusters that have been over the last 30 years, from 1990 to 2011-ish.
The Wild Wild West?
I straight up... we're coming up to our 2-year anniversary of Men in Black. And I thought, how great would it be if we screened Wild Wild West? But that seemed like against the idea of selling tickets. Because Amelie did quite well.
Yeah.
Inside Man Tonight is a full house. And already we've sold 32 tickets for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it's only been on sale for a day. So I think I don't want to
regress.
I don't want to throw Wild.
Plus,
West
the movie has spiders in it, and Turtle Dork he doesn't do spiders. He doesn't do spiders.
Yeah. So yes, so that's what I'm really, 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 really excited about. Okay. And then I think I already mentioned this at the top of the show, but meet us on the 9th Oh, now I think I have the dates wrong. I think the 7th is Fire Walk With Me. And then the 9th is the second session of the ItMod Chat Club, where you, the listener, you, the Alamo Drafthouse patron, are invited to join us up in the projection booth and have a conversation. And this session, this Chat Club session 2, is going to be about all the films we watched as part of the Denzel Washington month.
Yes.
So we're going to talk Inside Man. We're going to talk Malcolm X. We're going to talk The Hurricane. We're not going to talk Virtuosity.
Oh.
Because peek behind the curtain, Virtuosity was our pick. Then we wanted Ricochet. Yeah. We were denied Ricochet. And we got Inside Man, which is a great movie. Yeah. But I was really excited to watch Ricochet.
If you have HBO now, Ricochet is streaming on that. Just rewatched it the other day.
It's not the same as
it is not the
seeing
same.
At the Alamo.
It's not the same, but still, when it goes off, Ice-T's song comes on.
Yeah. Darren, what are you excited about?
The Boy 2, Brams. You know why? Because I haven't seen the first one.
Oh, you haven't? It's not that bad. I like The Boy.
Yeah?
I think The Boy's pretty good.
All right. Also, Call of the Wild. I'm not looking forward to that one.
Have you seen the mocap work that they did for the dog? It is an actor.
A dude actor or a dog actor?
Dude actor.
Why?
It's a human actor. You should watch it. Harrison Ford went on Good Morning America. They showed the behind the scenes of the guy on all fours in his mocap suit playing the dog.
God damn it, Andy Serkis, you're taking jobs away from dogs.
Andy Serkis would not be a part of this thing.
Man, huh? I'm
gonna show it to you.
Oh, that's a surprise to me. I did okay. Well, because those movies come out. I wonder if Wife Dork knows that Standing Up, Falling Down is coming out. The movie starring Ben Schwartz and Billy Crystal.
Oh, I don't think she
Ben
does.
Schwartz is an aspiring stand-up comedian, and he meets Billy Crystal, and comedy drama ensues. That's coming out this week. I saw the trailer for that, and I thought about her, so I think I'm going to check that out. Ty Sheridan has a movie called The Night Clerk coming out this week, probably in limited release. But in actuality, I'm not looking forward to Call of the Wild or Brams the Boy 2, but because I like to talk about something on my Weekend Dork, I'm going to most likely end up checking out The Boy 2.
Oh, and on demand right now, after midnight, VFW.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll check those out.
Yeah.
Because I know the Indie Dork loves After Midnight, speaking highly of it. He's actually out in LA right now doing Q&As, helping promote the film. So in support of that, and also in support of those guys who were guests on the ItMod, we got to interview them when they talk about their movie, The Battery. So I will support them and check that movie out. Also, VFW has been getting high remarks. Brad, you speak highly of it.
I love VFW.
But actually, you know what? I'm not going to watch it this week. I'm going to wait to catch it in the theaters with Psycho Cinema. I think I'll drive out to Winchester.
When you watch VFW, remember that they shot it in 18 days.
That's nuts. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I would rather check that out in the theater. So I think I'll hang off until the Psycho Cinema screening of that. That is gonna do it for us. Speaking of The Boy 2, Brams, our fistful for Friday coming up. Be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be a fistful of boys. Yeah, so get your fistful ready so you can hit us up on social media and share. If you want to help us out, if you want to give me some ideas, hit me up on Facebook at ItModcast. You just tag Disco. Just let me know what you think I should put on my fistful of boys so I can have the best list.
Dude, that's the dog.
Brad is showing me the guy in the mocap suit who is
He's got the letter
motion capture for the dog. He is a man with a letter in his mouth.
Yeah, because he's playing a dog.
Because they couldn't get any dog.
Oh, here we go.
My dog, Akuma, could do that.
Oh, no. I don't have the full video.
That is crazy to me.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Huh. I wonder what the thought is. So of any of these behind the scenes videos that you're showing me, does anyone mention the thought process of why they chose to go this way?
Harrison Ford talks about why he likes it.
Because he doesn't like animals?
Well, I think the issue is, it's kind of what Matt Reeves talked about with Planet of the Apes, is he didn't want to, or not Matt Reeves, Rupert Wyatt, when he made Rise of the Planet of the Apes, he didn't want to endanger or put any stress on any kind of animal who really doesn't have any consent. And so they wanted to make sure that all the apes, including that baby chimpanzee, were digitally created. And that's the dream, is that you don't have to put any horses in danger for your cowboy movies and blah, 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 blah. It's I don't mean to blah, blah, blah compassion. But I think we don't want to do to animals what we once did in film. But at the same time, like, you know, I'm sure a dog's okay.
I'm gonna say that dog would have been holding a letter in its mouth.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just saying, like,
I know,
he would have just been holding a letter in his mouth.
Have you seen the trailers for Call of the Wild?
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
It is. All right, so so no animals were harmed or made to feel uncomfortable, just the audience. All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Tonight, a new episode of The Outsider comes on, so check that out. So when we talk about it next week, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but you'll be in the know. That's my recommendation. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week, and until next time.